Hey there! Welcome to Understanding Common Core Math. This video series is designed for parents and teachers who are looking to better understand the Common Core and are looking to find ways to support kids in their development of math skills. In this video, we are going to begin looking at the geometry standards for kindergarten. Standard K.G.A.1 deals with describing objects in the environment using the names of common shapes. It also deals with describing the positions of objects relative to one another. To better understand the meaning of the standard, let's look at a few examples. Suppose that you are looking at the house shown on the screen. In simple terms, how could you describe the shape of the house? Well, the upper portion of the house is triangular, and the lower portion of the house is rectangular. Therefore, you might describe the shape of the house as being a triangle sitting on top of a rectangle. With that statement, we identified the shapes that form the house, as well as described the relative positions of those shapes. That meets the expectations for the standard. That statement is an example of the type of description we want your student to make when looking at objects in the environment. Here's another example. Suppose that you are looking at a bookshelf. How might a student describe its shape? Your student might initially observe that the entire bookshelf is rectangular. To go a little further, your student might also observe that each shelf is itself rectangular in shape. So the bookshelf looks like several rectangles stacked on top of one another. Again, that observation relates the shape of the object as well as the relative positions of the smaller shapes that make it up. These examples illustrate what a student needs to be able to do in order to meet the expectations of the standard. Let's take a step back, though, and chat about a necessary prerequisite to this standard. Namely, your student needs to recognize some of the basic geometric shapes and solids and needs to be able to name them. Which shapes should your child be able to recognize? Some of the two-dimensional shapes identified in the Common Core standard that your kindergarten student should recognize include triangles, rectangles, squares, hexagons or six-sided shapes, and circles. Other shapes might include ovals, stars, hearts, and crescents or moons. Some of the three-dimensional solids that your kindergarten student should recognize include cubes, boxes or rectangular prisms, cones, pyramids, cylinders, and spheres. In order to learn the names of the shapes and solids, point out examples to your kids that they encounter in their day-to-day lives. Have them name the shapes and solids that they observe. Let's take a look at a final example. Suppose that you are looking at the building shown on the screen. How would you describe the shape? Well, the building looks to be made up of three different boxes. It looks like a flat box placed underneath a tall box with a small box placed on top. There you go. The description identifies the shapes that generally form the building, and their relative positions have been characterized. Well, that about does it for this standard. The key things that your student needs to be able to do involves identifying basic shapes that they see around them and describing how shapes are positioned relative to one another. So, what questions do you have about this standard? Please provide any comments or feedback about this video. Be sure to also check out the other videos in the series. If you have a minute, I would encourage you to subscribe to this channel as well. Thanks for watching.